Hi, Dr. Sylvestre with Focus and Flourish. Recently, I was speaking with Dr. Jane Pegg about dental fractures in dogs. Dr. Pegg is a board-certified veterinary dentist. She also offers hands-on dental workshops to veterinarians. I'll post her information for you at the end of this video. Listen to what Jane has to say about dental fractures in dogs who have been chewing hard bones and other toys. Welcome. I'm so glad to be speaking with you.
Thank you for having me. It's my pleasure.
The types of dental fractures you're seeing with dogs that chew bones, are they like a specific type of fracture? I know as an orthopedic surgeon, if I see a fracture, I know what type of trauma caused it.
Yeah, that's a great question as well. So there is a very common fracture pattern that's associated with chewing on bones, and it's typically a fracture of the upper fourth premolar. So, the carnassial tooth is the most common tooth to fracture. And typically what will happen is, if a dog gets a big bone, they get it on the side at the back and they chew on it, and they will shear off a side wall of that tooth. And so that's probably the most common injury. The second most common injury is the same thing happening, but on the bottom molar on the same area. So, the fracture can go one of two ways, and it's either the top tooth or the bottom tooth that breaks, sometimes both.
So Jane, did you want to talk about the consequences of broken teeth?
Yeah, I'd love to. So some lucky dental fractures are pretty inconsequential. You can do a little chip to the surface of your tooth if you just damage the enamel, the outer covering of the tooth a little bit. And there's generally very, very minimal consequences to that. So when I see dogs with that, I kind of go, you folks have had a lucky accident, and the lesson has not been very expensive. But if you get fractures that are much deeper into the tooth structure, because the enamel is quite thin, it's sort of eggshell thin. If you get damage that is deeper into the tooth structure that affects the dental pulp, what we mentioned before, where the veins, arteries, and nerves all live, almost invariably, those teeth will become infected and they will die because the pulp has very poor defense against infection. Elsewhere on the body, you'll get a scab, you'll develop some scar tissue, it will heal over time. But the development of new dental hard tissue takes months and months to happen. So in that time, bacteria invade that tooth and they will kill the pulp. And what happens then is the tooth is still within the mouth, the core of the tooth is filled with bacteria, and the bacteria leach out through the end of the tooth root into the surrounding bone and soft tissue. So sometimes you'll develop abscesses around tooth roots, sometimes you'll develop swellings on the face. It can be really, really quite nasty. And sometimes, especially because they don't show signs of pain, I will see patients that have had a facial swelling that's come and gone. It comes back every so often. It goes away with a short course of antibiotics. It comes back 2 or 3 months later. I will sometimes see patients that have had this going on for years before I've discovered, oh, there's actually a little fracture that hasn't been noted before.
That poor patient will have experienced a fair bit of discomfort because infection and abscess anywhere else in the body is extremely uncomfortable.
This is one that they may actually show signs. If they have an active soft tissue infection there, this is when they may actually show signs, and they may not want to chew on that side. They may refuse a meal, and that might prompt the visit to the vet clinic where they get the antibiotics. It makes them feel better in the short term, but without getting the tooth dealt with in the long run, we don't actually resolve the problem.
Jane, when a dog presents to you with a tooth fracture, what's your protocol? What do you do?
Yeah, so we have a few different options depending on a few different things. If we see the fracture right away, within 48 hours of it happening, I can do a little procedure called a vital pulp therapy, which is almost like putting a Band-Aid on the dental pulp and then putting a cavity filling over top of it to seal it off from the environment. And 95% of the time, that tooth will stay alive and it will be healthy long term. Now, if it's been longer than 48 hours, I have 2 options. I can either extract the tooth or I can perform root canal therapy. So with an extraction, the whole tooth is gone. It's gone forever. It never comes back. With a root canal therapy, we preserve the tooth, but we make a few small access holes in the surface of it, remove all the dental pulp, sterilize the interior of the tooth, and then refill it with an inert material. So the inside of the tooth is no longer alive, but all the hard tissue is perfectly functional, and all of the attachment to the jawbone and the surrounding gum tissue is very normal as well.
So it's like almost a scaffold, so it prevents other teeth from moving around, I would think. Is that accurate? You're speaking to a surgeon, not
Yeah. Okay. I have the coolest thing to tell you. This is a question people ask me all the time.
Perfect.
So in people, if you have a tooth removed in the middle of a row, the teeth around it will often shift. In dogs, that doesn't happen. I have no idea why that is in dogs versus people different, but typically, no. If we extract a large tooth in the middle of the row of teeth on the top there, we don't tend to see shifting of the other teeth in the area.
So what's the advantage, disadvantage of the extraction versus the root canal?
Yeah.
If the teeth aren't going to move and you don't need that scaffold in place.
Yeah. So the benefit of a root canal is anytime we preserve structure, we preserve function. So if you have a dog that is a big active chewer and really derives a lot of pleasure from that, they will still be able to enjoy that activity, just hopefully with a better thing to chew on. If we take the tooth out, it's gone forever. And my experience is I don't think people see as much chewing on that side. If it's one side, they still have the other, which is good. But the great news is, like, they're both good treatments. They're just a little bit different. Root canals do have quite a lot of follow-up. So that's something that has to be considered. Whereas a dental extraction, once it's healed up, there is no follow-up. They're good to go. There's a lot of different factors that go into the decision-making, but those are some of the ones that I really think about.
I feel like I'm a little bit of a hypocrite in having asked that question, and I asked it very honestly. Listening to you speak, it's very similar to, well, should I fix that broken bone or should I just take the leg off? That's
you
what
know what?
Get,
it's
right?
the same.
And
it's the same.
Function and what does your dog want to do? And sometimes it's a hard sell to sell fracture repair in some cases. On that note, I'm going to say if they're young, try to preserve that function as much as possible because they have a whole life ahead of them. The more normal the function is, the fewer other issues you're going to have. And for my world, you amputate a forelimb or a hind limb. Over time, there's going to be a lot of changes.
It's a wonderful comment. And I think a lot about these things. We don't have any great research that leads us one way or another. I wonder about if we take out chewing on one side and they're chewing mostly on the other side, does that affect their TMJs long term, the joint between the upper and lower jaw? Are they more likely to get arthritis on one side versus another? We know that if we do a larger procedure, such as a mandibulectomy, where we remove part of the mandible for an oral tumor, for example, we tend to see big changes in their TMJ joints over time. But I don't know about with a tooth whether we'd see similar changes or not. The research hasn't been done.
Yeah, interesting. Wonderful. Jane, this has been a wonderful experience. Thank you very much for joining us here on Focus and Flourish, and I hope that we will get to do this again. I hope you found this video helpful. Please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel.